Hi there, this is Ken Bailey welcoming you to I Love to Tell the Story. On today's show, we're talking to a fella who I've known a long time. He's my uncle, and I'm hoping that he'll be able to regale us with some stories. He usually has some good stories. I know a lot of you out there probably have uncles that have great stories, and maybe we'll be talking to one of them one of these days, but I don't know how many of you have an uncle that will be turning 103 in May, in just a couple of months from now. And my uncle, the Reverend Milton Bailey, is doing just that. So we're going to give him a call here and see and just ask him a couple of questions about his life and a couple of stories that I'm interested in sharing with you. So on today's I Love to Tell the Story, the Reverend Milton Bailey.
Hello?
Milton?
Yeah.
How you doing?
Well, I'm still here.
Good. Hey, could I talk to you a little bit about, I'm doing a podcast. I'd like to interview you a little bit. Would that be all right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're just going to talk. When did you start preaching?
I've been thinking about that. Went over to Woodland Church, and I stayed for the preaching one Sunday morning, and the preacher gave the invitation. I wasn't a dope addict. I wasn't on any drugs or anything like that. I just gave the preacher my hand, gave Jesus my heart. Mm-hmm. And I've had experiences since then that have been real and dynamic, and so I know I'm saved. I haven't had any. Sometimes I just feel like the Lord's here in my presence, and I just talk to Him out loud. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just looking forward to being with Him. I just love Him more every day, and I feel like I've been a success in the ministry. I just feel like I loved it, every minute of it, and I just never regretted any of it. And I'm just looking forward to being in heaven there. I want to see Him and my brothers and mother and dad and 2 wives, and just I want to just put my hand in His hand, feel that scar in His hand.
Wow. Well,
and so,
how old will you be on your next birthday?
103. You know, it's kind of amazing. Doctors don't know how to treat a man that old. I went to see my heart doctor first time I'd seen him in a year, and he just laughed out loud. He was so glad to see me, and they took a EKG in the office there, and I asked him about a year or two ago how long I'd lived. He said, well, everything's been trying to kid you. You've outlived it. He said, they just can't believe. The doctor don't know what to say. I don't ever feel bad. I don't ever have any emergency, no kidney trouble, no bladder trouble, no diarrhea. I just feel about the same all the time.
Well, Milton, what advice would you give to a young preacher, a preacher just starting out? What advice would you give him?
Well, just stay in there and just feel like you're doing something that's important. I'd preach sometimes. I'd feel so bad I couldn't stand up. I'd hold on the pulpit, hoping I wouldn't faint in the pulpit. But and I had a lot of humor in me, and I had a lot of foolishness about me. One day I called a lady that's out at the medical center and said, Miss Canopy, I'm coming to see you. I want you to make one promise to me. It's 15 miles out there, that you'll not kick the bucket before I get there. And when I went in the room, she just laughed up a storm. And she thought that was funny, and lady said, I just come on Sunday morning to hear what smart-ass thing you're going to say. And preachers, they don't have any humor. They don't have any urgency, no emergency. Mm-hmm. I'd tell things at a funeral to make people laugh.
Yeah.
And I told this story at a funeral. I said, now I'm 100 years old, and I said, I'd like to get married again, but the woman I married is going to either be a nurse or have a purse. And people, that's amazing that they'd laugh at that. And that's funny now, isn't it?
It is funny. It is funny. Who, do you know who was president when you were born?
I think Woodrow Wilson.
Yeah. Where were you on December 7th, 41 when Pearl Harbor happened? Do you know
I was
where
down in Rochelle, Texas, and I was outside when I heard the news, and I said, it won't be long before we'll have this thing won. Of course, it looked real like a pushover. It's such a sudden thing.
Right.
But I never have really gotten involved much in politics.
Right.
I've always been a Republican, I guess.
What about sports? How do you feel about sports?
Well, I like the college better than the pros. I like some of the pros, but not all of them.
What's your favorite sport to watch?
Football, Houston, University of Houston, and Baylor. And of course, I used to root for Rice when Bob Marvin shot it. Right.
Well, what about basketball? You played a little basketball, didn't you?
Yeah, I played at Howard Payne on the only undefeated team they ever had. I guess some of the things. See, I was on the Memorial Baptist Hospital Board for 9 years. And I had a part in getting Houston Baptist University started. I was registration chairman for 12,000 Southern Baptists back in around 1960. I rode the train to Fort Worth for 2 semesters to go to seminary, and left Wrigley and James here. And I'd come back on Monday, and then I'd leave here on Monday and come back on Friday. And I did that for 2 semesters. And I worked at the Federal Land Bank for 5 years and pastored 2 churches on the side.
Wow.
They all knew I was a preacher there, but I did my work, and it didn't make any difference.
Well, Milton, what do you tell people when they ask, what's the secret of living to be 103? How do you answer that?
Well, I guess don't take yourself too seriously. I've always had jokes and things like that. I'll point to my ring finger, and I said, you know why the Queen of England never wears her wedding ring on his finger? And people can't answer. And I said, because that's my finger. And doctors and nurses can't even guess that.
Okay, that's great. Well, thanks so much, Milton, for talking to me. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Okay, well, I'm glad to talk to you.
Okay.
But people seem to, there's something about me that's, they like to talk to me.
No, they do. I certainly do. I always do. You take care, okay?
Okay, well, thank you a lot.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, well, there you have it. Some of the secrets to life. Don't take yourself too seriously, and don't have diarrhea, and and just take things as they come, and love Jesus, and look forward to a time when you're there. That was Milton Bailey. He's one of a kind, and I'm glad that he can be part of us on I Love to Tell the Story. You guys subscribe to the podcast, and we'll just keep doing this. You take care. Bye-bye. Hi there, this is Ken Bailey welcoming you to I Love to Tell the Story. On today's show, we're talking to a fella who I've known a long time. He's my uncle, and I'm hoping that he'll be able to regale us with some stories. He usually has some good stories. I know a lot of you out there probably have uncles that have great stories, and maybe we'll be talking to one of them one of these days, but I don't know how many of you have an uncle that will be turning 103 in May, in just a couple of months from now. And my uncle, the Reverend Milton Bailey, is doing just that. So we're going to give him a call here and see and just ask him a couple of questions about his life and a couple of stories that I'm interested in sharing with you. So on today's I Love to Tell the Story, the Reverend Milton Bailey.